but all three countries have benefit, and all three countries will be impacted.
That was former U.S. Commerce Secretary Carlos Gutierrez talking with me at the Morgan Stanley Asia-Pac Summit, and he was speaking about the dangers for the U.S., Mexico and Canada if NAFTA gets scrapped. Now, representatives from those three countries are resuming talks over the agreement later today. Let's bring in Bryan Riley now, Senior Trade Policy Analyst at the Heritage Foundation. He joins us live from D.C. Bryan, just sketch out for us what each country wants from a renegotiated NAFTA and how far apart those negotiating positions are.
They're very, very far apart, and each country has different desires. Canada and Mexico, they really just don't want to see NAFTA go away. Their goal in the negotiations has been, let's take what we've got, update it, modernize it to include digital trade, and call it a day. Whereas the Trump administration has a list of desires that are much more controversial and really are more in the direction of scrapping NAFTA and starting over from scratch. And a lot of the stated requests from U.S. negotiators, the kinds of things that Canada and Mexico are really highly unlikely to agree to. So the question then is, what comes next? Do we stick with what we've got? Or does the U.S. follow through with some of its threats to withdraw from NAFTA entirely?
Bryan, where is U.S. business on NAFTA exactly? Because from what I understand, the chambers of commerce, state by state in the United States, see a lot of merit in staying in NAFTA. So is there a sense that Washington and individual business is simply not aligned on this issue?
Well, it's very concerning. Whether it's border states or agricultural states, governors and interests in the private sector have expressed their concerns really loudly and clearly that it would be bad for the United States if we pulled out. Actually, it's even bad for the United States. There's the possibility that we might not have a NAFTA 6 months from now or a year from now. That's creating a climate of uncertainty, which is really poisonous to the business environment. And in Congress as well, members of Congress have quietly and in a constructive way expressed their concern to the president that the threats that we might pull out, maybe that's a tactic or a form of negotiating leverage, but if we actually followed through on it, it would be something that would be very devastating is too strong of a word, but certainly harmful to the U.S. economy, and interestingly harmful to many of the states that have supported President Trump.
Okay, can you put some numbers on that? And let's just stress test that worst case scenario. If there is a NAFTA blow up, what does it mean for the stakeholders? What does it mean for U.S. growth prospects, Canadians, and for the Mexicans?
Well, in and of itself, it would be survivable. We've been very fortunate. One of the benefits of NAFTA from the U.S. perspective is it's created a stronger, more stable economy on our southern border. Without NAFTA, there's no guarantee that we would have a continuation of a strong economy in Mexico. And what does that mean, for example, in terms of things like immigration policy and in terms of more trade agreements going forward? It's something that could have a ripple effect throughout the global economy. So in and of itself, it might be a self-contained event, but if the impact is similar withdrawals from free trade worldwide, it could escalate into something that really would be catastrophic. And it's really, the unfortunate thing is it runs counter to everything that the Trump administration is trying to do, which is to boost economic growth in the United States. And you would be very hard-pressed to find an economist that says doing away with NAFTA or creating this climate of uncertainty has any positive effect whatsoever in the United States. Now, the supporters would say this is just a way for us to use our leverage to get some good changes to make NAFTA better. But, you know, we'll have to wait and see on that front.
Bryan, it's a pleasure talking to you, sir. We'll leave it there. Thank you very much indeed for your time today. Bryan Riley there from the Heritage Foundation.